Hey, Connected Life peeps. I'm so excited about the episode you're about to listen to. Justin surprised me with it live on air, and I had no idea what we were going to talk about, but I feel like it's a really important conversation that I haven't heard lots of people talk openly about, and I think it could bring a lot of healing to relationships. I just want to give you the heads up. We're talking about how hormones affect a romantic relationship, and Justin really gets to share what it's like to be a man and feel validated in that. And I really get to share what it's like to be a woman and be validated in that. And I just wanted to let you know both sides get validated, because I think we go into your part the second half, and I didn't want men to feel scared that they weren't going to get heard and seen.
That's helpful. That'll keep men tuning in.
Yeah, you got to listen through all of the parts about the women first, and then you get all of the parts where you get to feel really validated and taken care of too. Yeah.
At the end, you'll be like, oh, yeah. Yeah.
I feel that.
We do have it bad.
You'll enjoy this episode.
Bye now. Life isn't perfect, and neither are we.
Nope. But we know how to face our fears.
And have some fun.
And talk about all the messiest things of life.
Like the messiest things.
Get connected to yourself, get connected to others, and get connected to the life right in front of you.
This is The Connected Life with Justin and Abby.
That's me.
That's you.
And you.
Is somebody periody today?
Yeah, I'm period.
How you doing over there, Miss Periody?
I'm grumpy. I'm grumpy, and I'm sad, and I'm happy, and I'm mad, and I want to cry.
I'm all kinds of emotions right now. I feel really excited about today's episode.
Oh, really?
I do, because we're going to have an interesting conversation. So today we have a woman who's on her period, and we're going to actually interview her and find out what it's like to be on her period.
Oh my gosh.
You think I'm joking, but I'm not.
That's what you want to do for this podcast.
We're rolling with this. I want to have a conversation about this process. I think that a couple things, I want to set the tone for this. So I think that women, for a lot of men, feel very confusing when it comes around their period time. Where like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if anything that she's saying is real. I don't know how to navigate this. I feel terrified half the time. And I'm like, what would it be like to get inside a woman's head who is on her period and actually get a legitimate conversation about what that experience is? And what does it look like for like a man to support a woman who's in that place without being destroyed?
That's fair. That's a good question.
So I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Well, we'll try it. Let's see. Let's see what happens.
All right. To kick this off, are there any common misconceptions that men have about women who are, on their period?
Yes. There is definitely a common misconception, which is that whatever we're having feelings about isn't real. That it's just our hormones, and that's what's going on. And so
it's not. So what you're saying is that it's like you're not just legitimately a psychopath.
There's something real that is coming up in that moment, and it's kind of like, how maybe there's something that's kind of bothering you, and you're like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. And then you get in a fight, and all of a sudden you're bringing up these 5 things that weren't that big of a deal.
Yeah,
that's what hormones are like. It's like, maybe you're doing something that is like affecting me, but I'm not bringing it up. And hormones are like, it just turns up the volume on what emotional things you're holding on the inside.
So like the things that have been maybe not addressed, compiling inside of it.
And now it all of a sudden screams them at you on a megaphone inside yourself, where you're like, we cannot ignore these things that have been piling up. And so there's often a very real truth to them. It's just that now we are yelling them from a megaphone when it would have been more palatable if we just talked about it.
If there was a dialogue that happened prior to the moment. So do you think, well, let me back up and say this. For those of you listening, this is really a conversation. It really is like a conversation for couples to try and navigate these areas. And I don't know that we have any answers. So brace yourself. You may be wasting your time with this podcast. But I think it's going to be a really relatable one in this moment, because I think that there's a lot that happens from the men's experiences.
And we could both describe what it's
describe the experience. And there's a lot that happens from women's. And I think that one of the things that Abby is pointing out here is probably going to be some things that is like very relatable in the sense of like, all right, there's actually something happening here, and the way that it's coming out is intensified. And if we can get a lot more clarity around the exchanges, like then maybe you can navigate them better. So we're ultimately trying to help people navigate the storm that is that time of the month.
100%.
And if we can understand, if guys can better understand women and women can better understand themselves, that's actually can be a way that you walk through it and you're like, you know what, that actually wasn't that bad of a time.
You know, something that's interesting, I do just want to start with every woman has different hormones. So some women don't really have PMS and some women have extreme PMS. And some people don't really have cramps. Some people have extreme cramps. So you have a wide spectrum of how women experience hormones. And then you also have that our hormones are regularly changing. So even if you're used to something, they could be like, you could be used to not have, like one of my close friends never had PMS and now she has horrible PMS, and it was quite abrasive to her when it switched. But our bodies are just changing. Our hormone levels are fluctuating. So we can get a general idea of certain things, but we hold that with open hands because we know that the body is a mystery in this area. And just when you think you figured it out, there's a new mystery puzzle.
I think that one of the things that you're saying, even inside of that, is that it's not just a mystery to masculinity.
Oh,
it becomes a really big mystery for you as well.
Yes, 100%. And I will say, I think periods are something that we should just accept. Like every woman is going to have a hormone cycle. And so we should accept that is part of the journey. And when I look at things that can create problems in relationships, I'm like, we should accept that my hormones can create problems in our relationship. That's just real. Let's just accept it.
Yeah.
And when we can accept that as a truth, then we can both be like, what can we do to make this better? So I will say something that has dramatically impacted me. I wish I would have started earlier, is just charting my cycles so that I know, oh, this is when I feel hopeless about anything. Oh, this is when I hate the world. Oh, this is when I feel really depressed. Oh, this is when I feel like our whole lives are falling apart. You know, like as I've begun to understand when I have emotions and what kinds of emotions they are, it helps you be able to ground a little bit in being like, okay, it makes sense that I'm feeling this right now. And when something makes sense, it actually feels less threatening to you.
Yeah.
If you're like, I'm feeling depressed for no reason, that makes me think something in my life is really wrong. But if you're like, I'm feeling depressed because I'm ovulating, then you're like, oh, okay, well, that just happens.
Yeah. One of the things that I want to kind of break down that you said is you were like, we as women need to accept that our hormonal cycle actually plays a role in this.
Plays a role in our relationship.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that happens that I see as the two sides of the coin, you'll have men be like, man, it's just that time of the month again and she's out of
crazy.
Her mind. And then on this side of the other coin is women feeling like, oh, they're just going to dismiss everything that I feel during this time of the month. And it's real. All of it's real.
It's a weird circle for both people. I want to say this because me and Pizzi, my best friend, we say this all the time. We're like, as horrible as it is for you, it is for me too. Like it feels like a tornado going off inside of me and I'm trying to survive the tornado inside of me. I'm sure it feels like a tornado to you. And so one of the problems is I think that we get into comparative suffering almost where it feels so overwhelming. Like when I think about PMS, I think about emotions are energy, right?
Yeah.
So when you're feeling angry or sad or anxiety, you're having energy build up in your body. And that makes sense for lots of situations. The energy in our body is meant to help us fight, flight, like help us flee the scene, help us fight away a defender, help us go into freeze. Like energy in our body tells our body what to do to protect us. However, in hormone situations, we have a ton of energy in our body. There's so much going on inside, and we need ways to be able to release that energy, and we need ways to be able to move through that, but it doesn't feel as clear because it just feels like everything is a threat. Like, I don't know, are you the threat? Is having a job the threat? Are my kids the threat? Like, I just hate everything. It's like, if you think about having an emotional rope where you can handle life circumstances, or like a cup of water, when you're at PMS, it's like your cup of water is full and any extra drop in the cup overfills it. So all of a sudden, you just making a joke that 9 times out of 10, I think is hysterical.
Yeah.
In normal life.
It's earth-shattering and life-ending for the individual who's made the joke.
Why would you say that? That's so painful. That's so mean. That's so harsh. You know, like all of a sudden it's the drop that puts the bucket over. And it feels, I want you to imagine, it feels like holding a bomb inside of you. Yeah. And not wanting it to detonate. But like a bomb that if it just jostles around it all, it's going to detonate. And so you're just like trying to compact that explosion as much as you can so that it doesn't kill the people around you. But while you're trying to compact it, it's killing you on the inside out.
So you're saying that most of the time there's an awareness of what's happening at some level. Like what I mean by awareness of, like, you can tell that you're like, oh God, I'm going to destroy people and it's going to destroy me. And I need to, like.
At this point in my life, I'm 41 now. So, but I would say when I was younger, I did not feel that way.
No,
when I was younger, I was just like, I'm fine. But as I've progressed in self-awareness, I'm like, no, I know that this is when I can hurt Justin the most. I know that this is when I feel unsafe for him. And then that gets dicey because when I feel unsafe for you, when you know I'm PMSing, you get on edge and then you do weird things because you don't want to set me off. And then I feel like, why are you being weird? And then I get set off anyway.
It's really cool. Like when I think of the Jewish people and their solutions to this problem, all you ladies are going to go outside the entire city and you can come back.
Honestly, I wish it was like that. Give me a week vacation to just
You've been
vent
declared
about
unclean. Go. But I want to go back to this part of the conversation, which is the idea that there's a dismissal of everything that's being said, or everything is being treated as though it's complete truth and logic, especially at the level of intensity that it is. And that's one of the biggest clashes that I see, like the meltdowns during those times between couples, because you have the side of the woman that's like, I am being dismissed on all these things. They're so real. And you have a guy who's like, oh my God, like I barely breathed and fire came out from this human being. And they're talking about all these worst case scenarios and I don't understand. And it doesn't feel true. And I know that in our relationship, like we had that bad dance around your period. Well,
in all honesty, I believed you. I was in the same boat. I had to have a counselor repeatedly tell me the feelings you have on your period are real. They're just magnified out of control.
Yeah.
Because I thought, no, I mean, and I traumatized you like that because I'd have these huge feelings. You'd feel like, oh my gosh.
Whether it was directed at me or directed about our life, right?
And then I'd start my period or end my period or whatever that was. And then I'd feel better and I'd be like, oh, none of that was real.
Yeah. And so that became a whiplash for me.
100%.
And when I'm in the whiplash experience of the relationship, I start to be like, what equals safety for me? And so what I could conclude is what equals safety is dismissing everything. I was just like, she's about to get nuts. It's that time. And I could actually assess when you were about to start your period before you would.
You could catch it.
And I'd be like,
That is called a survival skill. My nervous system will pick up all the cues so I know when to brace for war.
But then if I could go, okay, none of this is real. I don't have to go on the roller coaster ride with her. I can just be like, oh, that's cute.
Oh, she's crazy.
Yeah, she's lost her mind. And then ultimately, then you'd feel the impact of me dismissing something going on inside of you, even if I didn't directly say,
Totally.
because like, it's not like most guys with any sense of wisdom aren't going to directly tell you, you're out of your mind and I've decided you're crazy. So I'm just not taking you serious right now. Most of us are like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, my girl, it's that time of the month. Can we drink a beer together? It's crazy.
Here's the truth, though. A lot of men actually do say it. I can't tell you how many stories, and you've done it too before, where you're like, do you think this is just your period?
Right. Which do you think?
Now, this is a good conversation to have.
Yeah.
Because there is benefit to the concept of saying, do you think this is, like, maybe some words could be, instead of it's just your period, like, do you think things are, because if I was going to describe it, it's like almost like all of my senses are heightened. And so it's like everything feels so overwhelming. I want you to imagine, like, if you didn't have skin on and somebody touched you, it would really hurt.
Okay, Hannibal Lecter.
That's what it feels like on your period. Like all of your senses are just magnified. And so if you're like, instead of saying, oh, is this just your period? You could say like, oh, is this a time where feelings feel really big and you're having a hard time holding them?
This is a good part of the conversation. I like this. Yeah, because there has to be, let me back up. There has to be a way to have a conversation around this where both parties feel legitimized at some level, and that there can be a conversation validated. Like there should be able to be a conversation of like, hey, I'm having an experience that isn't so fun, that may be being intensified, without creating a sense of you're just crazy and none of your feelings matter right now, right?
Yes.
So because once you get into reality congruence and actually being able to call a spade and be like, yeah, it's true.
I'm
right
having
now,
big feelings.
I'm having big feelings.
There's big energy inside.
Big energy, and you're probably having to feel the impact of it. That actually...
And this is probably scary for you.
Yes. So that can begin to actually settle things for couples where they're on the same page. It's when there's a dismissal and a denial that actually heightens the intensity of
100%.
it, because now two people have to prove that they both have a valid reason for why they're being impacted.
Yes. Well, and one thing that you did even today, which was really great, is like, I see that you're fighting so hard through what's going on in your body.
Right.
I see that you really want to show up well, and that you're pushing with all of your might through your hormones to do as best as you can. That was really good language, because that was like very validating. Like, I see that you're really putting a lot of effort in here. And then I'm also able to say like, yeah, I would bet, like, I know that when you feel emotions, like maybe you have a lot of anxiety building, it feels a little threatening to me, because I don't know if it's going to flip into rage or anger, Right.
Like if I have anxiety building and you feel some sense of it, you're actually bracing for, how is this going to turn on me?
Yes.
How will it be outletted in a way that impacts me negatively?
Yes. And that is what PMS is every month for men, is they feel that there's big emotions building. They feel that there's energy that they can't make sense of. They don't know where it's coming from. They don't know what the wrong move is. They don't know what to do. And so it's like an impossible puzzle starts to come up inside of them. And whenever we feel trapped by something painful or unsafe, we have to create coping mechanisms. And I think a lot of men have really big coping mechanisms around women's periods, because women get away with murder and they don't even take ownership for it.
That's true.
There is almost like I was just PMSing. Well, I was just on my period. Instead of like, no, actually, I talk to you in a way that I don't want to talk to people in. And my circuit was so short, that'd feel really scary to be around.
Yeah. When women are on their period, it's true. A lot of times they're very dismissive about the impact of their emotional state of being on the welfare of, say, a man inside of the relationship.
And I don't even want to say just period, because it can be your hormone cycle. It can be when you're ovulating.
Right.
It can be when we have different waves.
But the experience for a lot of men is that the behavior is justified. Because
Yes,
I know I've heard
100%.
men say, like, if I ever pulled that shit, With my wife,
Oh, 100%.
it would go over like a lead balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be hearing about it forever. But then there's this justification all of a sudden of like, oh yeah, I was just on my period.
Yeah.
And that somehow, as much as a man saying you're just on your period is dismissive of the emotions, a woman turning around saying, I was just on my period is completely dismissive of the reality of the experience that someone had on the other side of them.
Yes. And I think just using some logic here, right? Like if I'm having emotions that feel uncontrollable or like hard to hold well inside of me, again, I think about them like energy. And when I'm doing well with my emotions, it's like a little baby that I can like hold on my chest and like, it's fine. And I'm okay. I can hold the discomfort or the frustration or the disappointment, whatever the emotion is. When it's like a lava ball inside of me, I have to throw the emotion at people to get it out because I can't hold it inside of me.
I'm thinking about the visual of a lava ball. And I'm like, that is fiery and intense and hot and burning and it's scorching you.
Yes.
And it's like, I can't take it. It's scorching me.
Yes.
Get it away.
Yes. That is kind of what it feels like to have PMS, is having a hot lava ball inside of you and you're trying to hold it inside and not hurt people with it. But so I'm just saying, imagine if your spouse had big feelings that you didn't understand and you didn't know where they would go and you didn't know if they'd get turned on you. Of course, that would be scary for our partners. Of course, it's miserable for you. I mean, like, I think it's pretty miserable for me that I have a period every month. But of course, it's miserable for you because you're like, our connection can be going great. And then all of a sudden, we have a week or a few days, depending on what is happening, where everything is more difficult.
Yeah.
Where the rules that once made sense no longer make sense. I think about John Mayer's song, you're just like a maze where all of the walls continually change. I think about like going through a maze.
Was he describing a woman's hormone cycle?
He was describing a woman with daddy issues, but yeah, same concept. Guess what we just did?
What did we just do, Abby?
We created the connection cure. And I think this is the thing that I'm most excited that we've ever created for people, because it is all of the years of courses that we've made, making it available in one monthly healing membership where you get to be connected to people who are going on the same journey as you while getting access to all of the things that we have made: relationship glue, reclaiming you, the compassion project,
the Father series, Living Fully Alive, the regulation library.
Yes, we have so many things that we've created over the years. We've had over 10,000 people do our courses. We've met with over 4,000 individual clients. And now we have brought all of it together so that you could have access to all of it for less than one counseling session a month.
Yep. And what's really cool is that monthly we have live connection calls where people get together and have those connection moments, talk about what they're going through, how they're healing in their process. And that's been one of the number one things that people have said is so incredible about doing our courses is the community that they create and the healing that takes place inside of that community. I mean, we've had people find their spouses,
find their best friends, find their community, because finally there's people where they realize I'm not alone and I'm allowed to be loved right now in the messiness of my life before everything is fixed, before everything is perfect. You can belong before you have transformed. You can be loved before you're fixed in this community. And it is really rich and beautiful and healing. We're meant to heal with each other. And the whole point of why we made this is so that people could have a holistic healing pathway. We do so much with connecting to your body and actually learning how to move with your body through emotions so that things don't get buried alive in your body. The body keeps the score. We want to zero that score out. And then we have heart connection stuff where you're actually feeling empathy for yourself and others, where you're actually connecting to your own story and you're actually having time to not just learn logically about why you do what you do, but actually have new feelings towards yourself. And then we have all of the logic, the neuroscience, all of the reasons why your body and your brain do what they do so you can actually understand yourself for the first time and start to have kindness towards why your body is made to react the way it is so that you can heal. It's body, heart, and mind all together in a way that is really, really beautiful.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a really cool membership because you get to stay as long as you want or as short as you want inside of it. You're not trapped inside of it, but you have access to an incredible community and great information. And so that is coming soon. You can go to Justin and Abby, that's abi.com, and you can get on our mailing list there, and we'll let you be the first to know when we release that. But this is something we've been planning for a while now, and I'm glad we're getting to do it.
It's about to come out.
I think that's one of the things is that maze. That's one of the most painful things for guys is that they're like, you set up rules to a system that suddenly get turned upside down during this time that doesn't make logical sense. Like I'm trying to logically track.
Totally.
And my logic buttons can't actually put together a map of figuring out how to show up inside of this.
Oh yeah.
Because potentially a person's pinging all over the place on the stuff, especially if you have compounded pain that hasn't been processed.
Absolutely.
You're grabbing something from maybe 30 years ago or maybe 5 years ago, and you're like, you never did this. And you're like, why are we talking about that right now?
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was settled. I have no idea why that got brought into this conversation. But all of a sudden, somewhere in the hormone cycle, I don't know what's going on in that.
And your brain is probably thinking, why don't you wait till you're done with your hormones to talk about this?
Totally. Like,
then
why don't we just pause? We could have a good
conversation.
conversation.
And I'm thinking, but I can't, I have to do something with the lava ball. I can't just hold it inside of me. And so, I mean, now I do a lot more things like we teach in our courses about ways to release energy. So I try to do a lot more things. And even like today, if I could have, I would have just avoided you all day.
Yeah.
Not
you said to me a couple times, I just wish I could go be in a cave right now.
Yeah. Not because I didn't want to be around you, but I wanted to protect us both from me.
It's like a mama bear that goes and hides in a cave.
I was like, I don't want you to get me breathing my fire at you. The only way you're safe is if I'm locked in my own room.
Go away, dragon.
Yeah. And I mean, it's impossible for us. Like women have kids. We have to show up at business.
Careers, yeah.
There's so many ways that you're not allowed to just go be by yourself when you're having big feelings or when you're sick or when you're not feeling good, because our hormone cycles are everything. It's physical misery. It's emotional disruption inside. And I think for me, if I could, I'd be like, women should just tell their husbands exactly what they need.
Right.
But you get on your period and the thing that you told him that works every time no longer works.
Not at all.
I don't even know what to tell you. I'm as mad as you that it doesn't work. I'm pleading on the inside for the thing that I told you to do for it to work for me so that I could feel okay.
Well, this is something that I was thinking about is like, okay, on one side of this coin, there's actually an immense amount of judgment from masculinity towards femininity on this issue. And there's a huge pain point. And I want to take a second to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to talk about the flip side of it in a second. For you, what are your observations about pain that women have experienced regarding maybe masculinity's judgment?
Well, I mean, I was just watching this video today, ironically, of they put cramp simulators on men to see if they could handle just.
They took it like a baby, didn't they?
100%.
They rolled over.
They lost their minds. I really want to try it on you or a couple of the men I know that have good pain tolerances.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible to know. In my head, I'm like, nah, it can't be that bad. But I'm like, when I'm feeling them, I'm like, this is freaking horrible.
Yeah.
So I think there is the thing of men don't know what it feels like to have, I think, honestly, hormones can sometimes feel a little bit unfair to me. How women's cycles work.
Right.
I can feel trapped inside my own cycle because it's not fun.
This thing is happening to me and my life is being hijacked. I don't want it to happen.
Mm-mm.
I don't have control over it. I feel wildly out of control. And now I'm doing things that misrepresent the actual reality of my heart, my desires, my wishes.
My most authentic self
Right.
isn't forward. And
Right.
everything from, and hormones affect everything. It affects migraines, cramps, body aches, energy level, brain fog, sex drive. So all of my life is being consumed by something that feels wildly out of control. And so the idea just of like, I want to be a safe person for you on my hormones. I got lost in what the question was, but I do want to be a safe person for you within my hormones. I don't even know how to do that sometimes.
Yeah. Would you say that for women, so again, a common feeling is that there's a dismissiveness from femininity on the other side of it.
Oh, but, and men, I mean, like, I'm not even, we got stuck. Like, I get lightheaded. People faint. There's like stomach aches, and it changes your stools. It affects everything. So I think men don't really know how much it physically affects a woman. It's like getting the flu once a month.
Right.
For sure. Physically, depending on your cycle. But for me, it's like getting the flu once a month. It is a pretty horrific experience physically. So you have that, and how cranky and grumpy do people get when they don't feel good? And then on top of that, you have the emotions.
So there's a sense like, when it comes to maybe masculinity's judgment, one thing is like saying like, no, you don't understand how bad it is in our bodies to have our hormones go so wildly out of control once a month. And it's something that
not once a month, because the hormone cycle is,
it flows.
Yes. And so it's like multiple times throughout the month.
Right. So let's just say multiple times throughout the month, you're having a hijacking that's not just a mental and emotional one. It's a physical hijacking as well that takes place. So it feels like, oh man, this thing is assaulting me. So I'm at war within my own body and I'm being assaulted. And now the byproduct is that I maybe lash out to the environment around me.
100%.
And I don't want to be doing that. So first off, men who have judgments about it, they don't understand how out of control we are.
Or how much I'm actually holding in. Like, I might have lashed out at you once, but I was wanting to lash out 10 times.
Right.
And I've been like holding that fireball, and it's burning me to hold it, but I'm holding it because I don't want to lash out. But then the one time I lash out, feels like you're like, see, you're crazy. See, I can't be around you. See, this is like your nut job,
Yeah. No, and I think if every woman just joined a karate class, this could be solved. Outlet your energy at karate. You're done, right? You get the fireball out.
I was wondering where you're going with that.
You're like, what is he saying? Karate. Here's, we go to the gym when we have overwhelming emotions. So we're like,
that's something that I do.
We try to unleash
I try to go for
some of the excess energy somewhere in that space. But no, there's a genuine hijacking taking place there. But one of the things that I think happens is that there's an immense amount of shame that takes place for a lot of women that they don't acknowledge.
Oh, then we get defensive.
Right. So there's the defensiveness and the dismissiveness is what feels like where that comes from oftentimes. Because if I tell you, yep, I'm on my period, I feel intense amounts of shame about how I'm acting out of control. And I also feel like that's going to give you permission to act like none of what I feel. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I felt emotion when you were saying it.
Tell me about that.
Well, I was like, yeah, it is kind of shamey on your period because it's so hard to be who you want to be and who feels natural to you in other situations.
Yeah.
And it does kind of feel like your alter ego's taking over.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of healthy ways to process hormones. I feel bad that we're not talking about those. And like, periods are really beautiful and sacred. They help you get in touch with the things inside of you that you need to know about, and they help you reconnect to the sensitive side of you. Like, there's some beautiful
We can get into
things.
conversation about that here in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like, yeah, it does feel shamey. Like I feel like I betray my own self a lot of times in PMS because I want to be kind and playful and good at communicating and I want to be a safe place for you. And now all of a sudden I'm lashing out about something that I may or may not really care about. Like sometimes it's something I really care about. And sometimes it's just like, you got me in the wrong moment. Like the other day was a great example. You ran up behind me to be playful, which 9 times out of 10, dream scenario. I love it. It's flirty. I feel desired. I feel fun. You went to kiss on me. More, it felt like you wanted to you were trying to depants me as a joke. So it didn't feel just like kissing. It felt like violation, but my body had such a strong reaction. I threw you off of me. I was like, no. And that was not what I would ever want to do.
Yeah.
But I could feel my internal rope because of my hormones was so little. There was no buffer zone. So it was just a huge, and I felt so much shame afterwards because I was like, I love that you want to play with me and I love that you're being playful and cute and flirty. Although please don't try to depants me in our house, but not like sexually. It was like playful.
Yeah.
But I felt so out of control inside my own self. And then you just feel like, gosh, I'm being such a bitch. I don't want to be. Like, that's not who I want to be. That's just a small example. Just because there was no emotional cushion left inside of my body, all of my sensory issues, like all of a sudden, like a great example could be like, most times on my period, I don't even really notice things. But all of a sudden on my period, if your breath smells, it might be overwhelming to me. That's a real hormone side effect. It might all of a sudden make me think I'm going to die. And I might feel like I'm going to gag. Oh my God, I'm going to gag. And that's so horrible. I don't want to be like that. That's not something I care about. You know what I mean? Like, I love you. But it's like my body, my senses are just cranked up so loud that it is hard to hold.
One of the things that I wanted to acknowledge, because as you were talking, you could see the waves of the tenderness. Yeah. Like there's actually a real human being in there somewhere. But no, there's like behind the defensiveness is shame, and behind the shame is actually usually somebody who's really tender and is thinking, oh no, I am creating havoc right now. I am doing things that stand in direct opposition to who I am and how I want to represent myself and how I want to leave an impact on other people. So I can imagine if I'm doing things, because I have, like in my complex PTSD, I've had moments of behaviors that I feel like I've been completely hijacked.
Yeah. And that's what PTSD is.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like I'm there, but I'm not.
Something has taken over.
Something's
it's hijacked your
me.
Emotions, your mind.
Right. And now I'm doing things. And while the experience was happening, I'm in the back of my head somewhere screaming, no, you idiot. Stop. Don't do this. You're hurting her. Like you're bringing pain into this relationship through your words, your actions, whatever it is that's happening. And so there's this deep awareness and you don't want to like look at it. But the point is that there'd be a real tender spot inside of me in that. And there's a real tender spot inside of you. And I think that for that, one thing that if couples can get on the same page and be like, especially as men, we can go, I know there's actually a tender woman behind this. And she probably feels a lot of shame. And in her shame, she probably feels very rejectable. Like right now, she did something that's bonkers. It's clear to me it's bonkers. She's pretending it's not because she has so much shame right now. But there's actually a true logic that's behind that that says, oh no, I can't believe I just did that. Like it might be justified on the surface.
Totally.
But somewhere inside.
Deep, even if it's subconscious.
There's something saying,
I have shame.
I have shame. I feel bad about this. I don't want to be doing this. So when we can look at it through that lens, we can go, oh, I know that she wouldn't approve of this. Like her true authentic self wouldn't approve of expressing her emotions to me or anyone else this way. In her right mind, where she's not like, it's not intensified, this wouldn't be who she'd want to be.
Oh yeah.
So I'm putting perspective. Like that's an honoring thing to do, is to like put a healthy perspective on it, instead of just going like, oh, she's just a crazy bitch.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah. Well, and what I love is you did empathy. You're like, when is a moment that I felt hijacked by an emotion where I felt out of control inside of my own system and didn't respond the way I wanted to respond? And so you're like, okay, I know what that feels like. And then I'm doing empathy too, which is like, I know what it's like to be around somebody that feels like they're about to explode, or somebody that feels like they're unpredictable or they're erratic. That feels really scary. Being around somebody who's just cranky. Nobody wants to be around somebody who's just cranky. I mean, Pete's son confronts her all the time on PMS.
He's so funny. He's like, what, 10 years old now?
Yeah.
Is he, Moses?
Yeah. He's like, I need to set a boundary with your PMS.
Mom, I need to set a boundary with your PMS. It's hurting my feelings.
Yeah, totally. Which is real. That's real. And I think this is the beauty of having good girl relationships, is I will call my girls and we will talk about how crazy we feel and how intense it feels. And I think that feels good. And then we can talk about, me and PC talk about the shame of what it feels like and how hard it is to navigate through that. I will say, the more I've worked on regulating my emotions and naming them and understanding them, that has translated into my hormones. Yes. And so I think that I'm actually holding my hormone expression better than I ever have in our marriage.
Can I speak into that?
Yeah.
And give my perspective? I would say 100%. There's multiple things that you have done that has changed the entire dynamics of how you show up when your hormone cycle is in operation. To places where I don't feel like I have to brace the same way.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still like, okay, I need to go somewhere.
Totally. I'm going to be busy.
But it's different. Like, I found myself bracing much longer, experiencing many more impacts of outbursts or, conversations that weren't fun. Like, I actually find you to be much more peaceful and much more fun around your hormone cycles than ever before.
Well, and a lot of the emotional health tools I've learned with PTSD really work with hormones, because it's kind of the same experience on the inside, which is my emotion center in my brain is taking over my body instead of my prefrontal cortex. And that's the same, I would say, for PMS. And so even being able to narrate, like, I'm feeling really out of control in my body right now. I'm feeling so many big feelings and I don't know how to hold them. I'm feeling really overwhelmed and I'm really dysregulated today. So the jokes that normally would land may not land today. Or I can tell that I'm really on edge, or my sensory issues are really heightened.
This is actually been one of the most beneficial aspects of your maturing and development in your communication style, because you being able to come to me and be like, Justin, I'm just giving you a heads up. This is what's going on inside of me. Like, before, you wouldn't even claim that you were on your period or near it. Like, no, I'm not. I'm like, no, we both know. Quit being a liar. Go back to Lieville.
It's such a funny fight, because I'm so mad at you for dismissing everything that I was saying.
And for me,
I would be like, no, it has nothing to do with the hormones at all.
It's interesting. For me, I wasn't dismissing, and I think this is for a lot of guys, they're not necessarily dismissing. I know we talked about that earlier, but we're not necessarily dismissing that there are portions of this that are real. We're just trying to say there is an added element to this that is intensifying
crazy.
A lot of stuff that's making it much more difficult to navigate. And you're wanting to find a solution to something that the level of intensity doesn't exist. So you're like, it's almost like, hey, it starts with the backyard has a fire in it. Oh yeah, there's a fire in the backyard. But then all of a sudden, the whole house is on fire. I'm like, but it's not. And you're wanting me to take a giant hose and spray down the entire house when there's a fire in the backyard that needs to be put out. Well, we should probably focus on that. But right now, you think I should put out the house.
Yeah.
And so that's overwhelming. So a lot of times men are being like, it's just not this big, and it takes different tools for what actually needs to be taken care of, right?
Yeah.
But with that, I know that, again, there was a sense of feeling dismissed.
Yeah. And it makes sense. So then I would dismiss it and I'd be like, no, I'm not. This has nothing to do with my period, even though I would have known like right before that I was starting my period the next day. And you'd be like, are you close to your period? No, not at all. This is 100% true and real. Don't you lie to me.
But what was really cool is as you got over your hurdles of shame about it and didn't feel like you had to defend yourself with me, you were bringing an acknowledgement to the reality to the table ahead of time. And I was like, okay, good to know. She's acknowledging that there's this. She's telling me some of the things that she requires, which some of that I can actually show up on. I can stop being playful and pretend that I'm just living dead inside. I kid. I'm being playful. But, you know, I can take that to heart and make some adjustments for a moment. And as we're going, her being a powerful person instead of lashing out at me is her articulating what's going on inside. So part of the healing for me is that you've become more of a powerful person in this space.
Well, part of the healing for me is that I've become more of a powerful person because the feeling before was, I don't know what to do with. I was thinking hormones feel like intolerable sensations, whether it's physical pain, whether it's heightened sensory issues, or it's the emotional side. It's like just intolerable experiences on the inside. And so that's when we're most likely to want to react to kind of try to disperse the energy of the sensations we are experiencing.
Yeah.
And so for a long time, I felt powerless. I felt hijacked. I felt like somebody, like I used to describe when I was growing up, like it feels like I'm a computer and somebody hacked my operating system and I'm just watching them run all these programs that I don't want run, but I have no ability to stop them. And the feeling of powerlessness actually increases all of the intolerable feelings and increases my own panic and my own anxiety and my own threat and feeling like I have no tools to know how to solve this. It ends up feeling really overwhelming. So now that I have ways that I can physically soothe when I have big feelings, now that I have ways that I can verbally communicate what's going on internally a little bit more, sharing my experience, what's happening inside of me, now that I have, now that I can understand, even just understanding my nervous system helped me understand what's going on in my hormone cycles. And now even that I can validate, like, I had to get to the place where I could validate these feelings matter that are coming up on my hormones. It's good that my hormones are bringing up the things that I don't have the courage to face sometimes.
Yeah.
In my own life. And my hormones are saying, I'm going to force you to face this thing. And honestly, I think it's sad that men don't have that. Like, it would be a different world if men had something every month that was forcing them to look at the feelings they'd buried.
We do. It's called The Women We're Married To.
It doesn't force you to look at what you buried. It just forces you to put your head in the sand more.
It's true.
In order to survive. But there is something that is actually beautiful and healing and meant to keep us more alive and healthy and functioning with something that's saying, hey, whatever you've thrown in the pit of your soul, we're going to bring it up and let you force you to look at it. There's a real gift in that if we will choose to be aware. And so for years, though, I dismissed my own self. And denied my own self, and I had no tools to manage. So when I got tools to feel more powerful, that in itself made me feel less panic around my period.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I know what to do with big feelings because I've been practicing what to do with big feelings before my period.
Yeah. It's like that idea of emotions buried alive, never die. It's kind of like zombies that suddenly resurrect from the dead around that time. Right. And you addressing those like dead bodies outside of your period
is a great idea.
Yeah. It's been life-changing in your life. Like, I am not going to ignore all these parts of my life that I've been denying. And that's been, obviously a process you've been on for the last 17 years of marriage is getting more and more honest with the pain that you're holding on to internally and addressing it. But again, that's lowered the stakes on so many things.
Well, I have less zombies coming out.
Yes, you do.
Because I'm paying more attention to what feelings I'm having So I'm burying less. So now my hormone cycle doesn't have to bring up all of the stuff that I shoved in the corner. Now my hormone cycle is like, oh, you're dealing with things regularly. So there's less to throw up in your face. Can you describe what it's like to be a man on the side of a woman having her period? What it's been like for you in the past?
At least in our relationship.
Now, I do want to do a disclaimer that I had, when we got married, an extreme hormone disorder. So my hormones were horrific for you and me.
Yeah.
In a uncommon way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that for me, there was a sense of, I constantly felt like I was needing to brace.
Yeah.
I was about to get blamed for a whole lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was going to be a whole lot of issues brought to the surface that I was expected to now juggle through.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was going to be told that none of those were real anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I would spend a couple days buying into.
Oh, we do need to work through this.
We do need to work through that.
Is
this big?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like buying into it. And then, oh no, jokes.
I'm fine.
I'm totally fine on all of that. So I felt like
whiplash.
There's whiplash was a very strong experience. And I think that whether or not you had big hormonal issues or not, I think most guys would say, I feel whiplashed around that time. It also felt like walking on eggshells.
Oh, absolutely.
You're like, I don't know what the trap is that 100%. I'm about to set off. So if I did something nice for her, is she going to be angry that I did something nice? If I just stay my distance, is she going to feel like you don't care about me? You're rejecting me. You're repulsed by me. It's like, it felt like a catch-22.
There was no win.
There was no win.
There's nothing you could do to not disrupt the dragon in me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm just like, here comes the dragon. So what that provoked though, there was areas where it genuinely provoked a lot of hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
It also provoked, like, because there's so much of our marriage that we had really good times.
Yeah.
Fun, play. My walls are down. Your walls are down.
Totally.
We're enjoying life. And then suddenly out of nowhere, it gets hijacked. Right. And so what that cycle would do is cause me to feel like I'm less and less safe. Like I can't actually let myself fully have fun and connection here.
Yeah.
Because at any moment there's going to be a hormone cycle that's going to hit. It's going to make no sense to me and I'm going to get hurt. So I should just, it's not a cognitive thing, but internally, like when you examine it, you're like, oh, those walls go up a little bit more each time.
Yeah.
To prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, man, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was, I talked about the blame thing. There was like, all right, I'm about to get blamed.
For everything.
And I think because there'd be times where I would ask, do you think that this is possibly your period? And it wasn't like, you're just on your period.
Yeah, totally.
It was legitimately trying to say like, I'm feeling bullied in this exchange.
Totally.
For doing nothing.
Yeah.
That I'm aware of, like legitimately loving and stuff. Maybe there's some things that could change a little bit, but like I'm suddenly getting bullied out of nowhere and blamed for why I'm being bullied. That was a feeling that happened. And I have heard that from a lot of guys. I feel like I'm getting bullied by my wife.
Absolutely. She's unhappy, unpleasable.
Yeah.
I have to walk on eggshells. I don't know what will set her off. Anything could set her off.
Yep. And so that could cause like waves of going cold internally.
Yeah.
And that's another one that I've heard a lot of guys say is like, I don't know. I just kind of get cold and I just shut off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm listening and I'm like, gosh, that makes so much sense. And I have so much compassion for you. If I knew, because there's triggers that you have right in your life.
Right.
That are like, oh, when you're around this one thing, you get more on edge.
Right.
So if I was like, oh, every month he's going to be around that one thing for maybe 10 days out of the month, maybe 14 days out of the month, and I just have to be around him while he's more erratic, while he's more unpredictable. Like the feeling of being around somebody with unpredictable, erratic emotions is terrifying because you're constantly braced.
Yeah.
And that would feel really scary.
I think one of the more bigger pain points too in that was I felt a sense of being defeated because I couldn't hold you accountable.
Totally.
Right. Like I'm not saying you couldn't, but at that point in time, it didn't feel like I could hold you accountable. Like, well, she's just on her period.
She gets her get out of jail free card and I don't get one of those.
She's having a body experience. There's no accountability, but actually in a healthy relationship, like whether it's been your hormone cycle or body cycles for me that I've had,
or PTSD,
any of that, there should still be an ability to hold accountability.
Absolutely.
Not punishment, but accountability looks like being able to be like, hey, it felt really difficult while you were going through that inside of your body. I felt really attacked. I felt really blamed, and it really hurt my heart the way that you were communicating to me. I felt disrespected or whatever that is, just using examples.
Yeah.
And in a healthy relationship, which is something that I think we've gotten to a lot of, like I've experienced you do a lot of like, that totally makes sense. I'm so sorry. Either you apologizing and validating my experience after I've shared it, or you beating me to the punchline and coming to me and being like, dude, I was not okay the way that I was showing up yesterday. That must have felt terrible for you. You didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
Ownership is a game changer for this part of the relationship. And I think going back to one other thing in it is, I think it felt unfair because it's like, I don't feel like I can have bad days and justify my bad days. You feel like you can go and justify your bad days.
Totally.
So it feels like I'm supposed to lend grace to you, but you're not going to lend grace to me because you're like, you don't have anything inside of your world that would lend to you needing grace for your emotional ups and downs.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying you never lent me grace, by the way. I'm just saying like, I think that that's a common experience that happens because men are like, I'm not getting grace. I'm just being told I should be able to not have emotions.
And I think I had a belief when I was younger, kind of like that you should be the parent when I'm on my period, which is you should be able to be a rock that isn't affected by my mood swings.
Right.
You should be able to comfort me and help me. Really like parent. I wasn't consciously thinking parent me, but I was like, I should be able to have as big of emotions as I want. And I should have you be just safe. You don't get unwarm, safe and kind, and keep wanting to come near me.
Right.
Keep wanting to come close. Keep helping me with my big feelings. Keep helping me work through this. Like I believed almost that my behavior on my period should not impact how you treat me at all.
It's like you said, I want a parent, not a peer.
Yes. I want
a peer is affectable because a peer has a shared exchange of like, I actually like am allowing myself to be impacted by you because I let you into a different spot in my heart.
And even then, like the truth is parents are affectable. If you're kicking your parent over and over and over again, they're going to be more dysregulated in how they handle you.
Yeah.
Like it's just a truth about the world. I wish it wasn't true. I wish there was a time that I could be fully dysregulated and it could not affect somebody and they could just love me and regulate me fully without it having any consequence. That sounds nice. But I think I believed you should be able to do that.
Right.
And I was angry when you couldn't. I was angry when you couldn't help me when I was PMSy and when I felt edgy. And I was angry when you didn't know what I needed. I didn't know what I needed. So I was like, you should know, maybe. Somebody help me know. And a lot of my own powerlessness I felt, I also blamed you for. And I mean, I think it, especially for how horrific my hormones were, it's actually a miracle that we didn't get divorced over it.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm not even going into this, but I had a hormone disorder where I was bleeding and PMSing 90% of my life.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it was just chaos, pure chaos for both of us to survive. And it was really, but I was so lost in how bad it was to just be me that I couldn't see how it would be to be around me. Because it was like, no, but you don't understand. Like I'm dying on the inside with how crazy this is. And so I had no ability to see. I do think that early on, I made a commitment to validate that it was hard to be you. But I think that as time has gone on, I've gotten less and less defensive and more accepting of what the journey is and how the impact would be. And I've put myself in your shoes and I've been like, okay, I see how we both are. And you've gotten much more compassionate towards me and you've become much more tender. But I think that's because I'm handling things safer. So you don't feel like you have to push me away as much.
I think it's because there's a lot more acknowledgement, right? The less dismissive you are about it, like again, reality confirming
totally
that you've become, the more I have an ability to engage you with grace and understanding. It's like this. If you can't acknowledge there's a problem, then how am I supposed to give grace and understanding for something that doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Right. But the more that you acknowledge, yeah, there's actually a problem here, this is actually going on, then I'm like, oh, now I have something to actually understand. There's a problem. This is what it's like inside of her right now. So she's going for it. She doesn't want to have to do this. Oh, I can totally extend compassion to that. But that takes a lot of shame resilience.
Yeah.
And I think going back to, we had already kind of talked about this, but I think that women building shame resistance around this, resilience around this area, building shame resilience around the area of their hormone cycles, has the possibility to change the way the entire family experiences them.
Absolutely.
Or their romantic partner does.
Yeah. And I think learning how to articulate what's going on inside of us, our body experiences and our emotions. So when I can use observation language, like, hey, I'm having really big feelings and really big energy in my body. It feels like a ball of lava. I feel like I want to release it. Here, and then having some steps. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go do some heel stomps. I'm going to go release as much energy as I can from my body right now. And then I'm going to come back. Hey, I actually need some extra time alone because my feelings are feeling so big and overwhelming. I need to be able to find my way through them. Things like that, being able to articulate more and know what I need before the moment has also created a lot more safety.
That's really good. Here's a question that I have for you. I know we're getting close to wrapping up. What would be some suggestions that you have for men in how they can be supportive without being doormats?
Well, I was thinking of this, even in this, like, this would be a great conversation for both parties to listen to. Because sometimes you need neutral people to have a conversation so that then you can have a conversation. Because most people aren't having conversations outside of the moment.
Right.
We avoid conflict until we're in it. And that's the worst time to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's the time that our brains can absorb the least, where we can get the least feedback and where we're the most in threat. So having a conversation at a good part of the person's cycle, which really the first 2 weeks after a period ends is like the only good weeks we've got. And so having a conversation in that area and saying, hey, I want to partner with you through hormones. I want us to find a way to really love each other through hormones. I don't want to shut down towards you. I want to be a support towards you, and I want to love you, and I want to create safety between us through that. Could we listen to this podcast? And then could we have a conversation about what is it that you need when you're hormonal, and how can you learn to communicate that softly? And what is it? And then same with the guy being like, something that I need is I need it to be validated. I need you to take ownership when you do, like when you bark at me or you respond really short. I'm going to work to have compassion. That it's kind of like when you're sick, you can be shorter, when you don't feel very good, it's easy to like just say something sharp to somebody.
Yeah.
So if you can really get to empathy, if the men can get to empathy and think through the times in their life where something's going on physically or emotionally, or even at work when you're really stressed about something and your kid just does one thing that bugs you and you're like, leave me alone. And you're like, oh, I didn't want to do that. Yeah. If you can just think through those feelings of what it feels like to be in your body when something feels overwhelming, and be like, hey, I want to have compassion and grace for you. And I want us to be able to have a dialogue. How can we partner to love each other through hormones. Since this is going to be the rest of our lives, we're going to be going up and down on hormone journeys. How can we do this part well so that neither of us are panicked around it? And how can we be kind? And then it has to be a consistent journey, because one conversation didn't make me magically better at hormones. Like
No.
I had to, and then I think it's important. Like I think both couples learning good communication and learning how to regulate your nervous system.
Yeah.
You know, for me, those two things changed everything in how we relate.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think we're in the best place we've ever been with my hormones.
Yeah. I think that you talked about people having a conversation outside of the heated moment.
Yeah.
I'm pretty infuriated at a lot of guys who have lived in powerlessness around that. And I've been one of those myself.
Totally.
So that fire has been aimed at myself. Because what happens is a lot of men are like, I am so exhausted by the fights.
When we're not fighting, I don't want to bring another fight up.
Do not want to start another fire.
100%.
And this is where I had to grow a set and be like, either I have those conversations. I wanted to say fights, but I have those conversations that are going to be painful at times, difficult to navigate, and get regular about having them until we get on the same page in the times of peace, or I'm going to be trapped in this forever.
Yeah.
So it did cost me something more up front to start
100%.
having harder conversations like, hey, we need to talk about this. I have some feelings in these areas. But it's been paying dividends. So number one, especially me just addressing men, guys, you got to have the hard conversations in times of peace, and you need to be willing to lose the peace to be a peacemaker.
Yeah.
Because being a peacekeeper is an illusion. It's an illusion of peace.
100%.
You're just surviving in between moments that seem like peace. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
So that's one. I think the other one is healthily learning how to communicate the impact that we're experiencing. I mean, it goes beyond a hormone cycle. It goes into just regular relationship. But my ability to give you feedback on the fly and be like, hey, this doesn't feel good. I need this to be softer.
I'm here with you.
I'm here with you.
I want to hear you, but I'm feeling really attacked.
Yeah. And very kind, calm, non-defensive, but just truth. Like the ability to deliver truth, like, hey, this is really hard for me in this moment. I want to be here. I want to participate, but this is feeling disrespectful. Like even communicating, this is feeling disrespectful. Hey, I'm feeling demeaned right now in this moment, but I love you. I want to hear you.
Yeah.
I want to get in. And that's a stability. Like when you can enter into your own personal stability as a man with a sense of truth, that's being delivered, there's an accountability that you're holding your partner to. You're like, hey, this is happening and I'm here and I'm not attacking you in it. I think that changes the dynamics. Like I've watched you get put in check when I've said those things, even though you're not liking that I'm saying it.
Well, especially when you're vulnerable and you're like, I'm feeling criticized or I'm feeling belittled or whatever, then I'm like, oh, I don't want you to feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And it takes time to get there. Like this does not happen overnight, like Abby said, but I think that this is a really good conversation. I think, like you said, people listening to this together and going like, what do we think about this? How does this play a role in our relationship? What aspects of what they've said are we doing?
What are we doing well? And what are the areas that we could do better to love each other more through this? And part of that just comes from the acceptance of, hey, we're going to have hormones. You're going to be cranky. You're going to be having irritable. You're going to have extra anxiety or whatever. So how do we go through that together well? How do we find better coping mechanisms? How do we become kinder towards each other in the experience that we're going to go through?
One thing that I haven't decided in the journey is that you need to not have any emotions.
Yeah, that's nice.
Right? Like I'm like, no, I've accepted she will have emotions around this time. I'm not expecting her not to, but I am expecting that we will navigate
that we're growing towards
that we're
navigating our emotions healthier
every time. So for those of you listening, this is one of those that you need to share to everyone. everyone needs a dose of this conversation to help their relationship out. If you haven't taken time to jump over on YouTube and subscribe, please do so. Go over there now. And every time you rate and review somewhere, whether that's iTunes or I don't know if Spotify has it, but any of the platforms, you're doing such a service to us and to the community because it's helping to spread that message. So we really appreciate your interactivity in that. And for those of you who have been listening and you want to learn about like more of how to actually manage your emotions, well, we have something called the Connection Cure on Justin and Abby. That's abi.com. That is a membership that we've designed with amazing programs, all of our programs for one monthly fee, less than what it costs to do a counseling session. And you can participate in that space and get the wholeness that you're needing. Like you can actually begin a process of taking back your nervous system, your body, your emotions through so many of the beautiful programs that we've created. So there's that.
I do want to just say learning how to regulate my nervous system and how to articulate what's going on inside of me changed everything. And we have a course called Reclaiming You that you get in the Connection Cure membership that really literally lays out the exact map. And then we have a course called Relationship Glue that's how to have conversations and create connection instead of disruption for that. And there's so many things you can do. There's also live compassion calls, connection calls. There's so much that you get and you can cancel at any time. So you can do the courses you want to do and then jump ship.
Yeah, it's totally easy. So thank you all for being here.
We have the Compassion Project in case your partner has no compassion for your period cycle.
Get some of that compassion in case your partner on her period has no compassion for you
back. It's so true. It's almost like we got into a validation war.
Yeah.
Where I didn't feel validated and then I invalidated you and you didn't feel validated. So you invalidated me and neither of us got to be seen.
It was a bumpy cycle.
It was bumpy.
But there's a way out of it. Totally.
I feel so proud of us. Can you tell me things that you feel proud of us for in this journey?
With the hormones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hit your wall?
Yeah, I hit my wall. I was about ready to be done.
Okay, we can be done.
We're just better at communicating overall. We're better at taking ownership, both of us. We're better at validating and attuning to one another. We're better at cleaning up messes, going back and cleaning up after we've made a mess.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot more humility. We've grown in humility. So.
Oh, that's one thing I'll say. I used to feel so powerless to my hormones. And now I've looked at what are the things I do have power over. I have power over repair. I have power over learning how to navigate my emotions well. I have power over my own tools to communicate what's happening inside of me better. So once you get rid of powerlessness and you feel empowered in life, your threat level just goes down. It's much easier to handle.
It's good. This is a good conversation. Well done. 5s. All right, go away. Everyone, I'm just tired of you all. I'm going to go in my own cave. Bye.